Hello, my algebra mathematicians. Today you're looking at video 4.8 in our quadratics unit. We're going to be finding the vertex and axis of symmetry of quadratic functions. So get ready to take some notes and do some calculations. So let's start with some definitions. The vertex, the minimum or maximum of the parabola or the turning point. You should already have this in your notes, but if you don't, please make sure you just get it down again. Remember, if we have a parabola that looks like this, the highest point would be the vertex as the maximum, or the lowest point would be the vertex as a minimum. The formula for finding the vertex, is very important that you get this down, is right here, negative b over 2a. And we can only use this formula when our equation is in standard form for ax squared plus bx plus c. So your coefficients are a and b, and then c is your constant. And I said equation because usually we have y equals in front of this when we are graphing. And then the last definition is the axis of symmetry. It's the line that splits the parabola in half down the center. So we'll look at that in a future slide of how we find that. So we have this first example to graph the function y equals x squared plus 6x plus 8. Now I know you can make your xy table and then plug the values of x in and evaluate for y and then graph those points, but there's a quicker way that I'm going to show you. So what do we need? To graph, we need the vertex and we need the roots, and I'm going to show you how we find the vertex, and you guys know from yesterday's video how to find the roots. So finding the vertex, again, the formula is negative b over 2a. So remember that the quadratic standard form, that should be a b, I apologize. Standard form goes ax squared plus bx plus c. So we're going to plug our values that are b and a into this formula. So b is 6, so I'm going to put a negative 6 all over 2 times a, there's a ninja 1 there, so 1. So our vertex, the x value, is negative 6 over 2 equals negative 3. So x equals negative 3 at the vertex. Now we have our x, we need to find our y. So this is where we're going to take that x equals negative 3 and plug it into our function to find the y coordinate. So we have y equals negative 3 squared plus 6 times negative 3 plus 8. Y equals negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9. 6 times negative 3 is a negative 18 plus 8. 9 minus 18 is negative 9 plus 8. Y equals negative 1. So my vertex coordinate, my final answer that I write, is negative 3, negative 1. And that will be the vertex of our graph. Again, let me just go through this again. So the formula for finding the x value of your vertex is negative b over 2a. We plugged 6 in for b. We kept the negative there because it's in the formula. And then we plugged 1 in. We plugged 1 in for a because there's a ninja 1 in the space where the a is in our formula. Then we evaluate negative 6 divided by 2 because it's a negative. Makes this positive 6 negative. 2 times 1 is 2. We divide and we get negative 3. So in our vertex, x equals negative 3. And to find our y value, we plugged our x value in to the function. And we got negative 1. So the vertex is at the point negative 3, negative 1. So now we move on to finding the roots. And you guys know from today's lesson that all we have to do is set the expression equal to 0 to find the roots. So we have x squared plus 6x plus 8 equals 0. And I'm going to use x factor and then set my two factors equal to 0. So we need two factors that multiply to 8 and add up to 6. That is 4 and 2. So we have x plus 4 times x. x plus 2 equals 0. I'm going to set each of these to 0. X plus 4 equals 0 and x plus 2 equals 0. For each mini equation I have, I'm going to isolate x, so x equals -4. Again, I'm going to isolate x by subtracting 2 in this one, x equals -2. So my two x-intercepts, zeros, or roots, whatever you want to call them, are at -4, 0, and -2, 0. And if any of this was confusing or you don't feel very comfortable with it, please go revisit video 4.7 to catch up on that skill. Now we can answer our original question of how do we graph this. So all we need is our vertex and our roots. So we just can graph these 3 points and then connect them to see our parabola. So first I'll graph my roots at -4, 0, and -2, 0, and then I'm going to graph my vertex at -3, -1. And all I have to do is connect those with the parabola, and I have a rough sketch of what this quadratic looks like. And now, I know you wrote this term down in the very beginning of the video, the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is the line that splits the parabola in half at the center. Now the vertex is always the center point of our parabola, so all we have to do is draw a vertical line through the vertex, and that is our axis of symmetry. And then we just write the equation for this, which is x equals -3. So the axis of symmetry for your parabolas are always going to be the x value of your vertex for parabolas that are functions. So since the vertex has a point has an x value of 3, the axis of symmetry is x equals 3. Now don't forget that sometimes you'll have to pull out the GCF of a function before you can find the roots. So here you would have to pull out the GCF of 3 before you found the roots, but before you do that, you always have to find the vertex with the original function. So let's just do that quickly with our formula (-b over 2a). We're going to plug our b value in, which is -12, so I have -12 all over 2 times our a value of 3. Now a negative and a negative make this 12 positive. And then we have 12 over 2 times 3, which is 6. So the x value of our vertex is going to be 2. And then to find the y value, we just plug that 2 into the function here. So after you find the vertex, you can go ahead and factor out the GCF to find your roots. So your hot question is to find the vertex, roots, and axis of symmetry for the following function: 2x squared plus 16x plus 24. Now remember, in the previous slide I told you what you have to do before you factor out a GCF, so make sure you do that. Here's a little math joke for parabolas. Turn up. Okay, enjoy. Don't forget to answer your hot question and try this skill out.